Hello, friends. Welcome back to Sunday Shenanigans with me, your host, Trevor Stewart, 1308. And we are here with the ASOC Prod Cat, the Peanut Gallery, and Code Inc. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Today's pre-rolls are brought to you by The Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, on the Downtown Mall, 105 West Main Street, above the bricks, between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. A great place to go with some great buds to get some great buds, eh, bud? The only thing better than their bud is their customer service, and they have the lowest prices in town, according to my own personal, highly biased research, by which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my biased research. Note of disclosure: any opinions you hear expressed in today's show belong to us or the expresser of the opinion. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of any of today's sponsors, including The Hidden Leaf, Kush Gang, or Firehouse. Don't forget to check the website for times and events. The website is thehiddenleafcville.com. That's thehiddenleafcville.com. All right, ad read got done. Code, good to have you here.
I apologize in advance. My ping may be awful because my internet is being stupid today.
That is okay. We all understand. Kat has had to join us from her car more than once.
Oh, this is the same computer. So, I don't know why it's doing this today. Anyway.
If I remember correctly, you prefer to go by ink rather than code, correct?
Either works.
But either works.
I don't really care.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're not actually going to play the game today because it's a clip show. But even though we aren't keeping score, feel free to shout your answers out like we're a bunch of animals, because basically we are. That's the button I'm looking for. Okay, that's the button I'm looking for. That's the button I'm looking for. Okay. Let's get started. Oop, that's the wrong button.
This message comes from Blue Harbor Entertainment with
Can you
Audrey's
all
Children,
hear?
the untold true story of Dr. Audrey Evans, whose fight
All
for change redefined medicine and impacted the lives of millions. Starring Natalie Dormer, now playing all Happy Hour, the boots that turn grocery.com.
T-shirt contest in Daytona Beach.
Hey, Lockpick.
NPR and WBEZ Chicago.
Future
This is
ex-husband.
Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR News Quiz. I'm the guy who had to permanently retire from the wet T-shirt contest in Daytona Beach so somebody else could win. Bill Curtis. And here is your host at the Studebaker Theater in the Fine Arts Building in Chicago, Illinois, Peter Sagal.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks, everybody. Who said only students get to celebrate spring break? This week we are giving you a well-deserved holiday from whatever the hell is going on with the help of some amazing interviews from the past few years.
While we elbow aside a bunch of Florida State sophomores so we can be first in line for frozen margaritas, here's a conversation with Eric Idle of Monty Python.
Now, as a longtime Python fanatic, it was a dream come true for me to talk to him, and I only wished he could have joined us in person when we talked in October. Turns out, he felt the same way.
I loved my time in Chicago. I'm married to a Chicago woman, and I have lots of Chicago relatives, so I'm very, I love Chicago.
Yeah, that's really great. It's a good town.
Wow.
And let me
I
put it this
didn't
way:
know that.
when you walk the streets of Chicago, we're a very cool, sophisticated place, I know. But do people recognize you and go nuts because they, like me, were Monty Python fans?
Yeah, I
growing
cannot
up?
hear it.
Well, luckily, no.
You can't hear it?
Just one moment.
Yeah, I can
That's
hear
on
it.
me.
Oh,
I
you
can
hadn't
hear it
clicked on
every
the stream?
time.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be an issue, wouldn't it?
Yep. All right. Lens cap.
No, that's
Lens
about
cap.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Lens cap refers to forgetting any step of the technical process. There have been a couple of times where early on, before we were doing the shows live, I would record them and edit them I've a couple of times forgot to hit record. Went through an entire, doing an entire show and realized that, like, I hadn't hit record. So, like, there was no... And I had to go back and do the entire show again.
After that, when we had scripts, it got listed at the very top of the script as a check-in.
Right. Check the lens cap. Check, basically check that you're recording. Check that everything's working.
That's a lot. That sounds a lot politer than what I actually wrote there.
Right. Yes, it does. Because being
Before you wreck yourself.
What?
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, that's the one. I was going to say something about the art of being politic, but,
Mm-hmm. I don't know why we would want to try that on this show.
Right?
That can really spoil your shopping,
Yeah.
No, you get recognized from time to time.
Can you hear it now?
That's just one of the pitfalls of being on television.
I'm curious if that when the show came to the U.S. on PBS, it became this huge thing. And I was wondering, was that the initial reaction that Monty Python got in the UK, or was it more reserved, as we might expect from the stereotype?
No, there was almost no reaction whatsoever because they put us on late on a Sunday night, and the BBC were trying to find out if people were still watching television at 10:15.
So for all you knew, nobody was watching?
Well, at first, absolutely nobody knew, and nobody was watching, and then bit by bit, So, and we were very fortunate that we'd actually finished doing the show before it was actually played on American television. So we didn't have to suffer the same fate as people on Saturday Night Live and that. We were quite anonymous and surprised by it all.
You mean the same fate as like massive fame and wealth? You mean that fate?
Well, that for sure, because we work for the BBC. But yes, it was a nice surprise when we were suddenly on public television. It was great.
Now, one of the things that a lot of us who first saw Monty Python, maybe even people now have this reaction, is how could they possibly get away with this absolute nonsense on television? And I heard you tell a story that if the BBC ever tried to give you notes or tell you you couldn't do something, you would all go in and physically intimidate them?
Yeah. Well, yes, because there were 6 of us, and we were mostly over 6 foot, and so we'd all got degrees, and we were very smart and proud, and we would go and they would be very alarmed at that sight of us. So, but at first we were executive free, so it was absolutely perfect.
When did you know that Monty Python had become like a phenomenon, something that like everybody knew and everybody treasured, pretty much, well, certainly in America, if not the whole world?
I think we were pretty surprised when we opened the Holy Grail in New York, and there was Python mania, and we were trapped in the cinema, and it was very surprising to us and quite funny. I mean, in Canada we were known, and we were surprised then. We came through the through the customs, and there was a big cheer, and we looked behind us because we thought we thought there was a rock and roll group behind us, and they were cheering for us, and they'd all come to the airport. It was quite extraordinary.
Yeah,
So we became what I call mock and roll.
Yes.
Speaking of
Very
rock and
good,
roll,
very
I also
good.
found out that Monty Python and the Holy Grail, your legendary, and it was your first movie, The Pythons, was actually financed by like some of the biggest rock stars in the world.
Well, the biggest rock stars in Britain, anyway. I mean, Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and Genesis and Jethro Tull. They put money
Tull.
into that, and I still pay them from Spamalot.
Do you really? Like,
Yes, of course.
You send a check to Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull because he put up like.
I write them out personally, yes, so they know where they're coming from.
I love that.
In
I
addition
love
to knowing
that.
all these
Oh
rock
my
and roll
God.
bands in the 70s, we've also heard stories that you either.
So, did y'all know? Did y'all know that Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull is one of the, if not the richest rock star of all time?
That I don't believe I knew.
But it's not
up?
because of rock and roll. It's because he took all of his proceeds and invested in business, namely a smoked salmon fishery.
That's
Oh.
interesting financial choice. My ping spiked to 5,000 earlier.
What? What? Why? What?
I don't know.
It's
It
crazy.
fakes itself now, but I'm concerned.
That's what that sound was earlier. The ding in the background, isn't it? That's
Probably.
what. I have so many questions, but I don't think I know enough about it to ask any of them.
I've gotten used to it. I've gotten used to it. I'm numb to this.
that. Okay.
I'm
Well, as long as
double
everybody's
to it.
equipment is still working, we can keep moving forward. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
We were talking Jethro Tull, not Pink Floyd, so you can't be comfortably numb.
Ah, nice one. Let's see. Jethro Tull song about locomotive breath. Poor old Charlie stole the handle, and this train won't slow down. Feels sort of like one of the most resigned songs of Jethro Tull. It's about so locomotive breath is a what if song, and the what if is what if God had no idea what he was doing, and
Oh no.
what if the universe that God made was an out of control runaway train? And God's just kind of the conductor going, I don't know what to do.
All I know is to keep the train on the tracks.
Right? That's
Everything else is out of my control.
and that's what the refrain, poor old Charlie stole the handle, and now the train, it won't stop rolling, no way to slow down. Gator Nuts, how you doing? Good to see you here. What if that is, well, yeah, the question, I mean, as an outsider to the Christian religion, I am not going to wander down the rabbit hole of what if God is the bad guy and the devil is the good guy. Because I'm an outsider to the religion, I don't feel comfortable playing that sort of game myself. But if I were to be part of, if I weren't an outsider and I looked at it, I'd go, yeah, that's an interesting way to think about things. But yeah, that's the yeah. And in the song, in the Jethro Tull song, I think the devil is still a bad guy. Just Me Crystal, hi. Much love. It's all about who has a better PR department. Very true.
Yeah.
What if after all this time they just got along?
I don't,
Would be
you know,
interesting.
I don't think it would be good for business. I think both sides are invested in this conflict. So both sides, even if they got along, both sides will continue to want the conflict. Let's get back to the game. What if I find what I find odd about the Christian religion is the fact that God is all about forgiveness, supposedly, yet refuses to forgive the devil.
That's a fair point. That is a valid point.
Well, also, you have to remember that Old Testament God, not so about forgiveness. The Old Testament God, it's really only the Godson Jesus that is that's the forgiving one. The Old Testament God is very
Harsh.
yeah, we'll go with harsh.
And still keep in mind that
I mean, he demolished 2 cities and turned a woman to salt for looking at it.
because
So you
they
know
were
what would happen if her husband had looked back instead of her?
What?
That would have been a lot of salt.
Oh, God, I can't believe I walked into that.
Yeah, well, I let you.
Alright, can we bring this stream back on the rails?
No.
Ha ha! The associate producer said, no, I'm afraid we're stuck here. Lockpick
Oh,
said,
no.
God is the mean billionaire. Jesus was the HR department.
I mean, honestly, yeah, because the general premise of having Jesus as your savior is, at that point, the only unforgivable thing is not believing that he's your savior.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the game.
We're gonna try again.
We're going to try again.
Speaking of airplanes.
Who, either as yourself as a group, used to throw these pretty legendary parties. Is that true?
I've always enjoyed it. We always had some good parties because I like to play music, and we always have sing-alongs and ding-dongs, and we still do that.
Right. We heard once that like you threw a party in the late '70s, and the cast of Star Wars, which was filming at the time, came over.
Well, Carrie Fisher rented my house in London for filming The Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
And they were very depressed, and Harrison Ford, they'd been in England for a long time. They were depressed. And
Yeah, that'll do it.
So I pulled out a special liquor we bought from Tunisia, and the party started, and by chance the Stones were around the corner in Abbey Road, and they all came round, and this party went on all night. And
Really?
they were
Really?
finally picked up by their cars at 6 o'clock, and we all went off to bed. And I'm happy to say I ruined one of the scenes in Star Wars.
You ruined. Do you know which scene you ruined and how you ruined it?
Well, because they stayed up all night. They blame me. I mean, they're adults, you know.
Right.
But
Barely.
it's a scene where they meet Billy D. Williams, and they come off the plane, and they, Carrie says, hi, and they're all completely high. They've been up all night. And having a good...
Wow.
Yeah.
That is an amazing bit of Star Wars lore, and I don't know if everybody knows it. That is amazing.
Wow.
Well, speaking of musicians, the Stones came by to your party. I also, again, for the first time, found out, was it true that Elvis Presley was a big fan of yours?
He was a huge fan, and I met Linda Thompson, who was his girlfriend, and she said at night in Memphis, when the television stopped about 2:30 in the morning, Elvis would make her do Monty Python sketches with him. And not just anyone. She'd go, hello, Mrs. Thing, hello, Mrs. Entity. And I said, well, I don't believe you. And she convinced me finally that because she knew the words.
I want to talk to you about the musical, of course, which went on to be a huge hit and won Tonys, and then was revived and won Tonys again. You had always been a musician. In fact, you wrote "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life" from the end of Life of Brian.
Always look on the bright side of life.
The #1 song played at funerals in the UK.
I'm proud to say that it still is. It's been that for 20 years.
Really?
Yes. I'm happy to say that it replaced My Way.
Whoa.
It replaced I Did It My Way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
So one of the Britcoms I watch on a regular basis makes a joke about having I Did It My Way played at a funeral. I didn't realize that it was actually, and I don't think at the time that they made the joke in the late 70s, early 80s, that song was, that it was going to be that popular at funerals.
I mean, I don't think most songwriters sit down and do something and go, this is going to be so awesome and it's going to be played at everybody's funeral.
I don't know. Elton John and Candle in the Wind.
I said most.
Okay.
Most songwriters don't sit down and think that. There are some that are definitely will write things with the intention, and there's others, like Elton John, that are writing it and they get done, it's like, this is just awesome. Everybody's going to play it all the time.
Right.
At the funerals and everywhere else.
Yes. All right. Back to the show. Let us not get too sidetracked.
Oh, that is good. I think, that is definitely improvement. I mean,
isn't it?
have you ever been to a funeral and all of a sudden the choir, they start doing it in harmony?
No, they play the record, I'm happy to say, but unfortunately, they don't pay royalties.
Funerals don't pay royalties?
They don't. I think it's wrong, quite wrong. But still,
Well, Eric Idle, it is a huge honor for me, especially to talk to you, and a pleasure to have you here. And we have invited you here to play a game that we're calling
Spam, 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 and Spam.
Now. As I'm sure you know, it was that famous Monty Python spam skit that is responsible for the fact that unwanted email advertisements is called spam. But we wanted to know if you knew anything about spam email. So we're going to ask you 3 questions about it. Answer 2 right, and you will win our prize for one of our listeners, the voice of anyone they might choose for their voicemail. Bill, who is Eric Idle playing for?
Andy Hill.
Unlike spam the canned meat, spam email is not a delicacy in Hawaii. The more you know.
Of Boston, Massachusetts.
All right, you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Here's your first question. The first genuine mass advertisement that people called spam went out to the users of Usenet, a precursor to the internet, in 1994. What did it advertise? A then unknown new TV series called Friends. B, a new canned meat product called Spam Plus. Or C, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. I'm going C.
I would say Spam Plus.
Spam Plus. You think that Hormel, the manufacturer of Spam, which, by the way, has embraced Monty Python and Spam.
Perhaps not.
Yeah.
Could it be Friends?
Well, that would be an interesting way of advertising a brand new television show on something called Usenet.
Yes. So that leaves us with Jesus Christ then.
It does. As so in many situations in life, all you're left with is Jesus Christ. Yes, the message was headed, global alert for all, Jesus is coming soon. And it was sent to the hundreds of thousands of people who were on Usenet at the time, so not only was it annoying, it was also incorrect. Here's your next question. Now, one of the odd things about spam is while that everybody hates it, and they really hate the people who send it out, it doesn't make the advertisers themselves a lot of money. One study showed that you would make more money and suffer less social disapproval if you did which of these? A, dined and dashed once a month. B, played saxophone in a subway car. Or C, stole a car.
It's either B or C.
Yes, that's right. Stealing a car. People don't like car thieves, it's true, but at least you could sell the car and make some money. All right, here's your last question. One of the most notorious spammers ever was a man named Alan Ralsky, who was actually convicted of fraud for sending out all those spam emails. Before that, though, he had another punishment. What? A, he fell for a spammer himself and ended up sending all the money he had to a fake prince. B, he typed so many fake emails that his fingers all broke. Or C, people found his physical address and signed him up for every piece of junk mail they could find, resulting in him getting thousands and thousands of magazines and pamphlets every day.
Everybody's saying C.
You're right again. Bill, how did Eric Idle do in our quiz?
Well, he woke up on the better side of life because he got all right.
Congratulations, Eric.
Thank you very much.
Eric Idle is one of the founders of Monty Python. He is also the Tony-winning creator of Spamalot and the author of the new Spamalot Diaries, out now. Eric Idle, an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. When we come back, the greatest bassist ever to come out of Philly, and actor Diane Lane, and how she ran away and joined the circus at the age of 7. That's when we come back with more Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me from NPR.
Flex on the important.
When clients realize.
This message comes from support for NPR. Decide for details.
We're in the Fine Arts Building in downtown. From NPR and WBEZ Chicago, this is Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR News Quiz. I'm Bill Curtis, and here is your host at the Studebaker Theater in the Fine Arts Building in downtown Chicago, Illinois.
You brought her.
Peter Sagal.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks, everybody. So we've officially declared it's spring break for all of our listeners this week. Now, we thought about going to the same places we used to hang out in college, but for some reason, when we go there, they think we're undercover police officers now.
Damn, now where am I supposed to score my uppers?
So, as we find people our own age to do shots with, anti-inflammatory turmeric shots, of course, here's some more of our favorite conversations from the last year.
Last June, we went to Philadelphia to interview a man who had grown up just a few blocks from where we were talking to him and had become one of the most famous jazz bassists in the world.
Now, of course, being a famous bassist is a bit of a contradiction, which was one of the things I asked Christian McBride about.
Well, I always say being a famous jazz bass player is being like a famous plumber. Because I might not get invited to the party, but you need me.
So, when you were starting out, were you immediately into jazz? Was that your first love?
No, I wanted to play with James Brown.
Really? That was your thing?
Yes, which I'm very happy to say I eventually did, but I grew up as an R&B kid, Philly.
And you actually got to play. You played with a lot of people, but you actually got to play with James Brown.
I got to play with Mr. Brown,
and
yes.
What's it like meeting your heroes, in the case of Mr. Brown?
It's complicated.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. We heard that he used to levy fines on his band members. That screwed up.
But that was standard practice for a lot of band leaders in the 40s and 50s. Ray Charles did that, Lionel Hampton did that, Benny Goodman did that. That was part of the gig, like if you screwed up, $10 coming out of your pay at the end of the night. Now, of course, James Brown kept that practice going long after everybody stopped. Right.
Significant part of his income, I'm sure, by the end. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So when did you get into jazz?
When I first started playing the double bass when I got to middle school, because I've been playing the electric bass for a couple of years, my great Uncle Howard, who's the other bass player in the family, he was so excited. He said, "Come over to my house, I got something for you." And now that he found out that I was playing the double bass, he said, "Hey, I'm going to turn you on to the Cats." So he spent the whole day playing nothing but jazz albums for me. And my great uncle had this very cool way of, he would put a record on, and he had a chair similar to this. He would sit down, he would sit way down like this. He'd light up a cigarette and have a glass of wine, and he would start playing air bass along with the record.
Right.
And, he would slap me on the arm and say, "Hey, listen to what Coltrane's about to do." And he pointed the record, "Ooh, you hear that?" And so it was so entertaining watching my great uncle listen to jazz. I said, well, if jazz makes him that cool, then I want to be cool too.
Right.
So that one visit with my great uncle.
Yeah.
That is one
Does
way.
he also do that during movies?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many ensembles and groups you've started in your career, but my understanding is the latest one is called The New John.
Actually, the New John is right.
That's, I should say, for non-Philadelphians, that's not the name John. That's J-A-W-N.
I actually have a new group since the New John.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
the New John is the old John.
I see. Yeah.
Right.
Could you explain to non-Philadelphians what a John is?
It's a person, place, or thing.
Yeah.
Joint.
Joel could have a new partner or whatever. Hey, you seen Joel's new John?
I do join.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I grew up in Atlanta, so Jonin, which is also that's house. I guess that's the place they call it the dozens.
Yeah.
So when we're going back and forth, that's what we call Jonin.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, John has different versions regionally. Like in New York, it's joint.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Someone said in Memphis, this is funny. They said it's junt.
Yeah.
Memphis.
Junt?
It's junt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know what it is on the West Coast.
Yeah. Who cares?
Who cares?
I'm sure Kendrick Lamar will tell us.
Right.
Well, Christian McBride, it is such a pleasure to talk to you in your hometown, and we have asked you back here to play a game.
I will say
we're calling
around here
Bass
it's
Pro
joint.
meet Bass Pro.
Oh, man. I was afraid.
Really?
Oh,
You
man.
anticipated that?
I was hoping to be baseball and not bass. Oh, boy.
You ever been to the Bass Pro Shop?
No.
No,
They're one
okay.
of the best stores in the world.
Really?
I love the Bass Pro Shop.
Exactly.
Fun.
So you know about
That was a
you're
good look, Joel.
You're a world-renowned genius when it comes to the bass, the instrument. So what do you?
What'd you say?
She said it's one of the best stores in the world, and I said especially if you want to go skinny dipping.
Yes, they do have that unintended option.
All right. Why?
You forgot about that already?
What?
Drunk
Forgot.
or stoned man charges into Bass Pro Shop, one
Oh!
of the giant ones that's shaped like a pyramid, strips everything off and dives into the fish tank.
Oh,
Fights
God.
off the police, finally crawls out of the tank, falls, busts his head, and they drag him out unconscious.
But he was in the fish tank for over an hour because He wouldn't come out, and they weren't going in after him.
That's amazing.
Yes, I did forget about that up until you said that.
I've never heard about
God.
that. Thank you for enlightening me.
The best.
You're welcome.
Followed
That's
by
amazing.
it was a similar, it wasn't a similar story, but another Bass Pro story that happened within like 3 months of this,
Was it in
where
Florida?
the giant fish tank that they have in between the shop and the restaurant that's usually attached, someone went fishing in it and stole, I want to say, like $30,000 worth of fish out of the fish tank and left the store with it.
Whoa. Okay, I do not remember that one.
We covered that one too.
Oh,
It was kind of rare fish, and they bagged them up and left the store with them.
These are mine now.
We have covered a lot of stories over the years, so
yes.
Okay, I there are gonna be things that come up that I'm just gonna have forgotten.
True.
Oh,
Keep in mind that I'm more likely to remember certain stories because I was the one specifically.
Right. They were stories you grabbed. You wrote about, right.
And honestly, the peanut gallery is liable to remember some of them because I'm sitting there squawking about it and then finding just the right number of words to make a terrible tongue twister at the end of this.
Oh, was it a tongue? Did we do a tongue twister on that one?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
That is one of the things I miss. The weekly topical tongue twister.
I mean, we can still do that.
I miss Ark on the Lamb.
Yeah, Ark on the Lamb. That was a good segment. That was, but I did enjoy Why Florida Why. That was a lot of fun too.
We still do Why Florida Why.
Yeah, we do. Just stories that make you ask, why, Florida? Why? Why you gotta be so Florida?
There's like a meme where a Florida man wrestles an alligator or like shaves a cat for no reason. Like Florida guy breaks into home to shave a cat.
Yes.
And then he leaves.
Yep.
He doesn't steal anything, he just shaves the cat.
Well, if you shave the cat, then there's probably no fleas.
I mean, there's that.
Gaternut says, just moved from Florida to Tennessee, lived in Florida for 30 years, just moved to Tennessee last month. And I feel like Tennessee is like Florida without the water.
No, Tennessee is like Florida, but with spicy water and less meth.
Really weird.
Pardon me. I will say this for you. The economy stays strong even though you have a lot of really weird people. Speech recognition messed that up. It was supposed to say Florida has a strong economy even though the people are really weird. Yes.
Then again, people around the world are weird, so.
It's a special kind of weird in Florida. It is a.
I have a family that lives in Florida. So,
but really, it comes down to the sunshine laws.
Yeah.
I've heard that the winters and summers in Florida are like really bad because they're like down south. I don't know anything. I've been there for the winter and it's bad.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting it to be cold and then you go outside and it's warm, and it's like, what
Yeah.
the hell is going on?
They don't really have winter down there.
It's either summer, spring, fall, or warmer fall.
Right.
For those of us that have spent an extended period of time where we get all 4 seasons
Fall
in a
and
day.
warmer fall. Hey,
Yeah.
man, in Ithaca, New York, I could get all 5 seasons in like a half
An
hour.
hour? Yeah.
Yeah, 5
5?
seasons.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
Mud
there's-
is a season.
I was gonna say the plagues are a season.
Well, that's 6, so there's 6 seasons.
There's spring, summer, fall, winter,
Mud.
and crazy.
There's that.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, I remember in Wyoming there were 3 seasons: winter, July, and road repair.
Fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Winter,
That's fair.
July, and road repair.
Yeah, that works. That works.
That seems about right.
Gaternut says there's no winter as a matter of fact because the spring water stays the same temperature. Everybody goes swimming in the rivers in the winter time because it feels warm compared to the outside air, and the alligators are sleeping in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's a prime swimming opportunity. No point in
I will say I
fishing
miss
because the fish would. Well, no point in fishing because it's winter. The fish ain't gonna be biting.
Bite.
You know, I will say that winter fishing around here, anyway, this part of Virginia, there are some places where you can do some good winter fishing because even though it's winter, the fish, like if you it's not so much using the like fly fishing technique or lure technique. It's more of a bobber and live bait technique. And if you get live bait to the bottom of the creek where the fish are, trout will go for food in the winter. Trout will still strike in the winter, especially on a rainy or overcast day.
Mm.
Yeah.
Trout will. Some of the smallmouth bass will, because those things are hungry.
Right.
Not so much the perch or the sunfish. Occasionally, you'll get catfish that way.
Oh, catfish will strike any time of year.
I went fishing with some, people that my aunt knew. Like at the end of the fishing trip, we were on a boat. I caught a ribbon fish.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was a pretty cool catch.
Yeah.
What's fun is to watch people that are sport fishing and have no clue of what's actually in the waters.
Yeah. Like at first I was like, wait, what do I do? And then after the first one I was like, oh right, it's fishing. I've done this before.
Yes.
Right.
I've always had a knack for fishing. I like it. A nice calming activity.
Yeah. I enjoy it. It really helps that I really like to eat fish.
Mm.
I'm more of a catch and release.
Most of the places around here are catch and release. That's, or at least around the Charlottesville area, which is unfortunate because there are some good, tasty spots with some good, tasty brook trout that I can no longer go get.
That's you gotta go up through Crabtree Falls and up that way, because
Yeah, that's Crabtree Meadows is one of my. I haven't gone there this year or last year actually. I haven't gone there since I got the car back, but
you're gonna have to do a fishing trip then.
I am.
If I remember correctly, during the same fishing trip, one of the people caught like a shark.
That's
No,
fun.
like a baby shark.
Yeah. Forever.
Zombie shark. Arr.
Good save.
One of my most memorable fishing trips was someone trying to learn how to do fly fishing, and they caught something.
You?
My eyelid.
Ooh.
Ow.
It wasn't. Oh, what was it?
His
It was my eyelid that they caught on the back cast.
Oh no. Oh.
Luckily, I screamed loud enough that they did not whip it forward directly after that to set the hook.
That they realized, wait, I don't have a fish.
Oh, that's just my
that
goodness.
is so much hurt though.
New phobia unlocked.
Honestly,
as
I said, they did not manage to set the hook, so it did not go in deep. It just snagged on my eyelid, and I screamed. So luckily, there wasn't much trauma to go along with this. It was just
a
shocking moment.
Lockpick says, catfish can be shocking, but that's the risk of Craigslist.
Nice.
And also, Lockpick says, fly fishing is all right, but it's way more effective to use a fly swatter in the kitchen.
Yeah. I don't get. I mean, I get thalassophobia.
Well played, Lockpick.
But, like,
well played.
I don't get thalassophobia. You know?
Fear of having something stuck in your eye?
Thalassophobia, fear of deep water.
Oh,
fear
deep
of, like,
water.
The deep, or fear of like the.
I definitely have it. I definitely have it.
Well, it's more of like the fear that something's in there and that it's gonna get you.
Oh yeah.
I think.
That's definitely part of it. That's part of it. Part of it is
I feel like it's
inability to see.
Saying. Like if you don't see the big gaping maw of the thing that's about to eat you, you'd be terrified.
Right. Of course, any smart or sane person should be frightened in that moment.
Yeah. No, but if you're in like crystal clear water and you see that, that's a whole nother thing.
Then, but also it's I don't like when I can't identify where solid ground is.
Yeah.
That's I think where it is for me. Lockpick says, I've gone fishing a lot, but I don't think my hook ever made it into water. We just float around on the boat all day, hanging out and getting drunk. That sounds... yeah.
That's the average fishing experience.
Kat said most of the people here seem to do about the same thing. Yeah, that's tubing down the James. I personally do not want to go into the James at all. I do not think that it is very clean water at all. I will not eat fish out of the James. I will not eat fish from within 2 miles of the James.
I do not like them, Sam. I am.
Exactly.
I don't.
I'm not the only person who thought of that.
Yeah. I do not like pollution. I do not. No, I'm not gonna rewrite Green Eggs and Ham about sick fish.
I mean, we already have the Lorax. We're good.
Right.
Yeah.
Today's pre-rolls brought to you by The Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, 105 West Main Street, above the bricks, Suite 200, between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. Great place to go with some great buds to get some great buds, eh, bud? And the only thing better than their bud is their customer service. They have the lowest prices in town, according to my own highly biased research, by which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my biased research. Don't forget to check the website for times and events. The website is thehiddenleafcville.com. That's The Hidden Leaf, CVILLE.com.
Question.
Answer.
How much coffee have you had this morning?
I've barely made it to Vader's eyebrows. However, I've had about 1.5 of these. But even that is normal.
Just checking, because it seems like both ad reads were accompanied by like a double shot of espresso.
I've been trying to perk it up a little. Trying to stay perky.
It was definitely noticeably perky.
Thank
you. Like I
you.
said, about double shot espresso perky.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of you have a. No, never mind. Go ahead.
Oh. Okay. Well, all right. Let's get back to the game.
It's the instrument. So, what do you know about Bass, the Pro Shop? We're going to ask you 3 questions about the outdoor
Bass
store
Pro
that
Shop.
is not REI. Answer 2 out of 3 questions correctly. You'll win the prize for one of our listeners, the Wait Waiter of their choice on their voicemail. Bill, who is jazz legend Christian McBride playing for?
Chris Dunn of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hometown guy. All right. So Bass Pro Shops are famous for their enormous sales floors and the things on them, like giant aquariums, actual running streams through the floor, and more. All of that natural beauty, though, can backfire, as in which of these cases? A, one store in Texas is now home to a family of geese who refuse to let anyone go near the camping supply section. B, at a shop in Florida, a man showed up with a net, scooped a 50-pound fish right out of the aquarium, and then just walked out with it. Or C, a store in Kansas was declared a protected environment for a species of endangered fish, and now nobody is allowed inside.
B. We're going with Florida.
I would say
well, considering
B,
this is America, I would go with B.
Right, meaning this is the place where people just go in there and take that fish.
Just yoink mine now.
Yep. Did we
You're
covered
right,
that,
now.
didn't we? At one point.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's not.
He literally fished into the tank and like stole the fish.
Yeah, we definitely
And, like, sold it or something.
we definitely talked about that story on the show. So, it's
B.
we
freebie.
Yeah. Well, normally when we're playing and they do a question about a story that we've already covered, I automatically give everybody a point because we all know it. We covered the story.
Yeah.
Although, as we have proven earlier today, I don't remember all the stories we've covered. But they're usually more, usually it's not going back all the way to,
that
scripted shows. Yeah, usually they're only dealing with something that happened in the last week. So.
Yeah.
True. True, but it was really nice having the proof in the scripted show that we talked about this first.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No price tag on it.
That's right.
You're right. Yes, that's what happened. And according to the story,
he did.
According to the story, the thief, and perhaps for all we know, the fish, is still at large. Maybe he was rescuing it in a Finding Nemo kind of way. We don't know. Now, next question. One of the most famous Bass Pro Shops is the one in Memphis, Tennessee. In addition to being very popular, it is notable for one other reason. What is it? A, all of the fish in the aquarium are descendants of the fish that Elvis had in his aquarium. B, it has an actual moat you can test drive their motorboats in. Or C, it is located inside one of the largest pyramids in the world.
C.
Well, I know the arena where the Grizzlies play is actually called the Pyramid, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with C.
Yeah, it is. That's right. Yeah, the pyramid was built for some civic purpose.
That's a big jump.
What was that?
A seems too far-fetched, and B, that would be a big moat for motorboats.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you'd have to have, you'd have to accommodate for each customer.
Although I will say, applying logic to this game hardly ever works. So we need to be careful about that.
Yeah.
They do.
Some things you do have to think about logically.
Right. When they give you, you'd think, but we do need to remember.
Sometimes you do have to think logically, so that's why I'm saying C.
But
the other two don't make sense.
They also be aware that they will always go for the poop joke if they can.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lowbrow sense of humor. They just don't say it in a lowbrow way. Instead of dick and fart jokes, they like penis and flatulence jokes.
Yeah.
And what's the other thing? It's always a fart. If they can do a fart joke, they'll always do a fart joke and something else. There's another this game has been on the air for 30 some years now. Huh?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's I used to occasionally catch it on Sundays with my mom. But then when I started, I would also occasionally when I was living on my own, I would catch it. But there was a point at which when I started working on the house that I'm currently in, when I started rebuilding this place, I started to have something to listen to. I went back and just downloaded all of the episodes of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Episodes.
There are. And I listened to them all. And I caught up. I binge listened to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me and caught up. And a desire to be able to play along with the game is what led me to start leaving NPR on all the time in my house and in my car. And then I started remembering that I'm also socially and politically active, and I need to get back on that because things are getting bad. And all of this came to, all of this really sort of coalesced to a thing, to a pointed realization somewhere around 2016, 2017. There was this like, oh, yeah, I can't look away anymore. But it started with wanting to be able to play along with Wait Wait Don't Tell Me, and then it led me to becoming yeah, the
So you,
political and social vocalist that I am, vocal activist that I am.
And they said gaming would ruin the youth of America.
Right? This is why MTG wants to, Marjorie the Gathering wants to do away with it. This is why they want to take away NPR. Is because and PBS is because it can radicalize people into believing in
PBS
journalistic
I can see.
integrity.
PBS I can see. PBS just sucks.
Not at all. PBS is awesome. I think PBS is wonderful, and so is NPR. I think the whole... Oh, wait. No, wait. I need to remember. I'm indoctrinated by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. My mind is being controlled by them. This is the moment... This is the moment in the show at which I'm going to say everyone out there ought to be donating to their local NPR and PBS stations. The proto-groomer, Mr. Rogers. Oh, God. But seriously,
Mr.
friends,
Rogers' is good.
Marjorie Taylor the Gathering is trying to not only cut the funding for PBS and NPR, which she can only cut up to about 10 to 16%, I think. But that's still a lot of money. But she's out to destroy these incredibly important institutions in our country. Public broadcasting, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, PBS, NPR, all of the local affiliate stations, they are all... Their mission is to see and report the truth. Their mission is to educate and illuminate. And that's it. They don't have a side. They want to do it to everybody on both sides. They want to... And taking them away from us, destroying NPR and PBS would be taking away the foundation of our ability to have checks on the government. Journalism, true journalism, is the shield of the people against tyranny. Do not let them take that away from us. Do not let Marjorie Taylor Greene ruin our country by taking away NPR and PBS. Harass your representatives into telling her to F off. Desk pound, desk pound, desk pound.
This is a leftover rant from yesterday.
Yeah, it really is.
So I did the calculations. You said earlier that it was about 30 years it's been airing. It's actually been 27 years, 2 months, and 27 days.
Wow. 27 years.
Still a long time.
Yep. I am not going to tell anybody how old I was when it started, because that would give them the ability to look up or to figure out how old I am. I'm not making it that easy.
I'm not going to say anything about that either.
It's not Fox News, it's faux news. Very well played. Very well played, Peanut Gallery. All right. Back to the show. I've calmed down. Getting off of my soapbox now.
Big John. Yeah. Big John. It's meant to be a 2/3 scale model of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and just like that world wonder, it was also built by aliens. And now there's a Bass Pro Shops in it, which is pretty awesome. All right, here's your last question. Sadly, not everyone is happy with Bass Pro Shops. In fact, a man once filed a $5 million lawsuit against that company over what? A, the fact that he spent over $3,000 on premium fishing gear and still could not catch anything.
That sounds American.
B, they stopped replacing his $12 pair of socks after about 10 times, even though they had a lifetime guarantee. Or C, he got dysentery after getting thirsty in the middle of the store and taking a drink from one of the artificial trout streams.
That sounds American.
I would say, honestly, all of it.
Well, I already got 2 out of 3.
I can't say. It sounds plausible.
Only happens if
they always sound stupid enough to have been a thing.
And it is occasionally possible that they will do an all of the above.
A just seems likely because America. It just seems about right. B seems likely. B seems likely because it just stupidity.
Right.
And then C is just even stupider than B.
Exactly. It's like how.
New York if the store was in Oregon.
Exactly.
What
Good morning,
what threw
Master
me was
Austin
the fact that
420.
they sued for $5 million.
All right,
like, Lord.
Let's see which one, if not all of these, it was.
I'm actually going to go with A.
You're going to go with A, the fact that he spent $3,000 on fishing gear and still couldn't catch anything.
Yeah.
No, it was actually B. It was about the return of the socks. Bill, how did Christian McBride do in our quiz?
Well, he's a winner. 2 out of 3. That's a win.
Congratulations. Christian McBride is a Grammy-winning bassist and the artistic director of the Nikwork Jazz Festival and the Jazz House Kids. Christian McBride, everybody! Last August, we talked to Diane Lane, who had been nominated for an Emmy at that time for her performance in the TV show Feud, 45 years after making her film debut at the age of 14.
She had been performing even before that, doing experimental theater in downtown New York and on tour in Europe. Peter asked her about the effect of that formative experience.
I'm still in therapy about it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The world was a different place then. It was, I wound, there was no airport security. We didn't need it. I remember getting off the plane and running into my mother's arms, and around my neck could have been anything, but it was a 5-pound, well, maybe a 2-pound tortoise. And I had bought it on the River Seine in Paris, because back in the day, they sold animals by the river in Paris. Don't ask.
So you came off the plane, you hold the tortoise out to your mother, and your mother says what?
She shrieked. And I had that turtle for years. His name was George. Turned out George was female. Did you know that the bottom side of a tortoise will reveal the gender? Because the male have a slight indentation curve so that they can mount the female.
So you know what I love? I love
that tortoise lied to me.
I love the idea of you being on the set of your first big movie, A Little Romance, with Sir Laurence Olivier, and you telling him stories like this.
It's adorable. I was much more 2 ears, 1 mouth around Lord Larry.
I can imagine. You have played a comic book character. In your case, more comic book character adjacent, but you played the mother of Superman.
Martha Kent, yes.
Martha Kent, famously. And this is the Henry Cavill Superman, right?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. You said, you're like, okay, was that his name? Okay, yes. So how have you found, after all the other things you've done, after being a well-known person, you had your Brat Pack period and all these other periods, to be like a star at Comic-Con?
Was she in the Brat Pack?
Oh, gosh. I am such an introvert. I don't know how I would handle that.
So you've never been. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to go to Comic-Con and all the Superman fans were like...
I dodged it. I did. I chickened out. I was just... those crowds, they make me... I have agita, as my friends say.
Agita. You have agita, as they say in New York. How can a shy person be constantly on screen? Isn't that weird?
Well, yes, I told you, my therapist is rich.
So the latest project you're in, it's a TV show. It is remarkable. It is called Feud. It's about a very real situation in New York society in the 60s and 70s when Truman Capote wrote a book that enraged his society friends, of whom you are one.
Slim Keith, I portrayed Slim Keith.
Slim Keith, who was a real person.
Yes, socialite extraordinaire, a real maven, a real connector of other people. I don't know, I think of them as sort of sassy pants people.
Sassy pants people. Sassy pants people. That's what Truman Capote called them, and that's what made them so mad. You've been promoting this TV show all week, and you've been asked about it and answering questions, as you've done for us. Before we move to the game, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Is it? I don't feel safe suddenly.
Oh, this is a safe space. This is a safe space. This is totally a safe space. If there is anything on your mind, Diane Lane.
Would you like to talk more about the underside of turtles?
For example.
No, I'm open to talking pretty much about anything. I'm starting to sweat now, but that's okay.
No, it's okay. All right. Well, we actually have something for you to talk about because we have invited you here to play a game that we're calling
Swan versus Swan.
So, as we've established in the TV series, you play one of the society ladies that Truman Capote called swans. So we thought we'd ask you about actual swans. The waterfowl.
Only
the bird. Answer 2 to 3 questions about swans correctly. You'll win our prize, one of our listeners, any voice they might choose on their voicemail. So, Bill, who is Diane Lane playing for?
Ryan McGee of Prescott, Arizona.
Are you ready to do this?
Hold on. Did we last night have a conversation about kiwis' eggs?
Yes.
No. I did not.
You and I did.
Okay, you did.
Okay, so I am remembering that right. That did happen.
It's understandable. Any animal facts from Australia do seem like they came from a fever dream, but it happened.
I mean,
apparently Australia has like really poisonous animals.
Well, I mean,
Like both
yes.
snakes. Like no, like
But
both native snakes they have are
the other
poisonous.
thing they have are these dinosaur terror birds.
Cassowary.
And emus.
Yeah, but
they
no, cassowary is
also
a
have
dinosaur
their
bird.
tiny cousin, the kiwi.
Kiwis are adorable.
Kiwis' eggs
Are the
are
same
of a similar
size as their larger
size
cousin.
as an ostrich, a cassowary, or an emu egg.
Apparently, it breaks their
Everything.
like spinal system.
It is 20% of their body mass, body size, body volume.
They're literally like
It is 20%.
spinal system has to
Yeah.
Be moved around for the.
Thank you for that. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for that, Peanut Gallery. That is now information that is now set
Will
in my
haunt your
head.
dreams forever.
I have seen that section on YouTube Shorts. I hate it.
I'd have gotten away with forgetting about it if we hadn't have gotten there today.
That's okay. Just sit there and think about something way cuter and less disturbing, like the platypus or the echidna.
No.
How are they less disturbing?
They're actual dinosaurs?
No. Ape. Eep. Eep, I
They're
say!
little tiny fuzzy dinosaurs? They're like
If
Pokemon.
anything, that makes it worse. Somehow.
Exactly. Ink's got my back on this one. Exactly.
Back to the show and talking about the giant cobra chickens.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Here's your first question. Swans are notoriously temperamental, but one pair of swans had to be forcibly removed from a lake in Austria because they kept doing what? A, honking the melody of ABBA's Dancing Queen. B, pooping on every single couple that were trying to take engagement photos at the lake. Or
Sounds
C,
about right.
attacking anyone who got near their nest, which didn't have any eggs, just a bunch of red Solo cups.
That also sounds about right.
I would
I'm going
say
with
Gotta be
C.
C.
It is C. The swans apparently had
very
mistaken these
territorial.
cups for their eggs and would attack anyone.
What was that?
So any bird when you get close to their nest will literally immediately try to murder you because they see you as a threat. Doesn't matter what your intentions are, evil or good.
You get within
immediately
Merc
see you
range
as-
and they're on you.
You step into like a certain invisible boundary and they will immediately just stare at you and just start chasing you.
Right. And it's a territorial protection thing.
Yeah.
Um,
It's their instincts. They can't control that.
Yeah. All right.
And would attack anyone ferociously who dared to approach them. That was very good, and I liked your instincts. You know your animals. As we have established. Here's your next. Now, probably the most famous swan is, of course, the ugly duckling, right? From the beloved children's story.
Spoiler alert!
I'm sorry.
Wow, just cut right to the end there.
That's the story, of course, that teaches kids that everyone is beautiful in their own way, and you shouldn't accept the judgment of others. In the original version of the story, the ugly duckling is finally approached by a group of regal swans ready to claim him as their own. What is the first thing the ugly duckling says to them? A, quote, finally, a family of my own. B, quote, and this is why no one should ever be judged in their appearance alone, or C, quote, kill me.
C.
Oh, well, I believe it's A, but B is fun too. Let's go with A.
It was actually C.
Yeah.
Really? Thankfully, the swan did not accede to the duckling's request, which is shocking.
What were you saying?
I was saying it was A, but C was funny.
Yeah. Always go.
Apparently, the intrusive thoughts won with the author.
Right. If there's that's one of the lessons here is if there is a really funny answer, it's probably the right answer. Like,
unless all the answers are funny,
right?
Because then it's just like,
oh, it could be any one of them, right?
Yeah.
That's when you've got to look at that. See, when it's like all of them are ridiculous and funny, you've got to go, okay, no, wait. If I apply logic to this, which ones fall away? That's when you've got to be logical. But when they're not funny or implausible, when all the answers are sort of more plausible, you've got to look for, okay, what's the funniest one? What's the one they think is funniest? The poop joke, the fart joke, or the, whatever it was in this case.
Shocking, given what we know about swans. Right. All right, you've gotten one right. You have one to go. If you get this right, you win. Yours is not the only TV show that we have had with swans in the title. Back in 2004, Fox broadcast a show called The Swan. What was that show's premise? A, it was just a remake of Everybody Loves Raymond, but replaced Ray Romano with a live swan. A reality competition in which self-proclaimed ugly ducklings are given lots of plastic surgery until at the end one is judged the most beautiful. Or see a documentary show that just shows the daily life of Bucky, a swan that lives in a pond in New Rochelle, New York.
Wow, I want C to be true, but I'm going to go with B anyway.
Because that's the world we live in, isn't it?
What did you say?
I'm going C. A just straight up doesn't make sense because they're only replacing one character with a swan, and that's just a horrible idea.
Also,
it's not the 80s.
Yeah. Well, it's also a live action show, isn't it?
Yep. And
yeah, so
several of the actors are dead. At least one of them is. Ray's dad. Oh, I can't come up with his name all of a sudden. But he also played the monster in Young Frankenstein. It's pronounced Frankenstein. Pun on it. Before we embarrass ourselves any further, we're just gonna press play. Actually, no, I better put that in context. The noises you just heard the Peanut Gallery and I making were the Frankenstein's monster, played by, was it Peter O'Toole?
I can look it up.
Please, would you? Our regular...
what is it again?
The dad from Everybody Loves Raymond, or the monster from the Young Frankenstein. And the noises...
Peter Boyle.
Peter Boyle. Boyle, not O'Toole. It's like, I knew O'Toole did not sound right. Peter Boyle. An amazing actor. May he rest in peace. And his portrayal of Frankenstein's monster was iconic, I think. It's hard to do. Good. It's hard to do imitations of, especially Peter Boyle doing Frankenstein's monster without appearing to be making fun of a group of people who shouldn't be made fun of. So I just want to put in context there, we are not.
You're imitating the way he portrayed the role of the monster and not anything else at all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. Gosh, I was struggling there. It can be hard to do impersonations of some older material because it comes from a time when, and the lack of, it comes from a time when there was a lack of social awareness.
Mm.
And so even though the people involved or the media itself may not be insensitive, taking bits of it out of context could all of a sudden be viewed as insensitive.
Yes.
And that's not something we want to promote here.
It is not okay. And, wrong.
Okay, so back to the show. Now that I've managed to derail our show by being that friend that is too woke to myself. We'll go back to the show.
Did you manage to step up on your own soapbox, knock yourself down, and then take your soapbox back over again all in the same sentence?
Yep, pretty much.
Yikes.
I just keep... Oh, man. One of my best friends. The Awakening. Yes. Oh. You know what? I'm just going to hit play. I don't need that.
Isn't it? Yes, that's what it was. The Swan, which apparently was very popular, still only lasted one season because it was kind of gross. Bill, how did Diane Lane do in our quiz?
2 out of 3, Diane. That is a win.
Wait, congratulations. Which apparently was very popular, still only...
Wow, I want C to be true, but I'm going to go with B anyway.
Because that's the world we live in, isn't it? Yes, that's what it was. The Swan, which apparently was very popular, still only lasted one season because it was kind of gross. Bill, how did Diane Lane do in our quiz?
2 out of 3, Diane. That is a win in our case.
Congratulations. And let me say, since you have an Emmy nomination for your show, Swans, may I say I hope this is not the last thing you win this year.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Diane Lane is an Emmy nominee for her role as Slim Keith in FX's Feud, Capote versus the Swans. You can stream the whole series on Hulu now. It is remarkable. Diane Lane, thank you so much for joining us on Wait Wait, Don't Tell Me. Coming up, a punk icon and a pair of comedians making the Midwest cool again. That's when we come back with more of Wait Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Idea. Think about it.
The Essential. Go to TA.
Bill Curtis, and here is your host, at the Studebaker Theater in the Fine Arts Building in downtown Chicago, Illinois, Peter Sagal.
Thank you, Bill. And thanks, everybody. So we have been enjoying spring break this week, and I have to tell you, we are not even done with the show, and we're already partied out.
When I was a young man, it wasn't a good night out unless I had already started the next one.
So while we take a break from our break, here's two more great conversations we had in the last year. First, Kathleen Hanna, founder of the seminal feminist punk band Bikini Kill. She joined us in July, and I asked her why she was getting the band back together.
I really need a beach house in Malibu, and feminist art pays so well that I just figured, go for the millions.
Yeah,
no, I mean, clearly with everything going on in the world, we were just like kind of reinvigorated to sing the songs again.
Absolutely.
It just felt like the right time. I didn't want to sing these songs 15 years ago, and I really want to sing them again now. They feel really like it feels good physically to sing them on stage.
Maybe when you sang them 30 years ago, it worked, but the effect wore off. Now you have to reapply Bikini Kill. Let's talk about your background. I was reading in your book. I was reading your book that you recently published, Rebel Girl, which is a remarkable memoir. But I was surprised by so many things in it. One of them, I was so surprised by your first time singing on stage, which you say in the book was like a really important moment when you realized like that's what you wanted to do. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, I got the part of Annie in the musical Annie.
Yes. If you're going to play Annie, that's the show to do it in,
Well, what actually happened was a woman who had a son who went to the school complained that it was sexist, that there weren't very many parts for boys in it. So the play actually ended up being a really horrible mashup of Annie and Oliver. Also, about orphans, I guess they were like, let's do one boy orphans and girl orphans.
Wow.
But yeah.
And then they were fighting each other, so it was like West Side Story also.
He was like 2 feet tall, and I was like 4'8", so I really felt like it was not a fair fight.
Right.
And he was a very cute, sweet kid, and he made everybody cry with that dumb "Where Is Love"
Where is
song.
Love?
So
It's a tearjerker.
It is a tearjerker. Can you still do, or have you been tempted?
Peanut Gallery, I am not responding to that. I had to put thought. I know I did, but I am not. I am meta responding. I am meta responding to that statement. Peanut Gallery texted me something that is both horrifying and hilarious, and I don't feel comfortable saying it.
That's okay.
And I just wanted to stop and tell him that that's what was going on screen. My face reacting to your text. Yep. Actually, I think I wanted to let everybody else know that's what was going on. That's what this reaction on my face was. To something Peanut Gallery said IRL. It's like, that is... And see, the thing is it's just messed up enough that I don't really want to say it, but it's not terrible. Like, it's not even cancelable. It's not actually that bad. It's just like... You, Peanut Gallery, you.
Such a shame.
Okay, what would that be?
Golf clap?
Menacing slow clap? Begrudging, a begrudging golf clap?
Yeah, I think a begrudging golf clap. Yeah.
There's a little bit of "I'll get you back" involved in that. But
yeah,
we need to remember Trevor's days of doing that sort of thing are done. I have after my two best practical jokes, I'm leaving it alone. I'm not, and revenge is not bad jokes. I will come up with a bad joke that will hurt him inside, but I won't do it publicly.
So you're going to roast him after we turn everybody else off. Got it.
I'm not going to roast him. I'm going to come up with a joke that makes him feel bad.
I mean,
I do that enough myself.
You know you do. I know you do. It's hard. Like, you're a challenging audience. You are. You make me a better
That
joke writer.
I feel bad for myself. That's why I'm not saying it out loud. It's just too funny not to share.
Exactly. I'll get you back for that.
well, dear, I feel mildly concerned for you, but not concerned enough to protect you. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry.
Only concerned enough to watch the fallout.
Kinda.
To do the big song Tomorrow from that show?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Can we hear it?
I can't do it with earplugs in. Let's see. The sun will come out. I can't do it right now.
The next word is tomorrow.
I just drove here from Hershey Park, Pennsylvania. Where I was like, I was on roller coasters for like 10 hours.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm sort of like fried.
Did you just go to hang, or were you guys playing at that? There's a big venue there.
Oh yeah, no, we don't play venues
It's not that big?
but
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You could. You deserve it.
Yeah, of course. I went to ride the Super Duper Looper again because I rode it when I was like 10, and so I took my son so he could ride it, and he loves roller coasters. He's an enthusiast.
That's great. I was just there a month ago. It's thrilling.
It's thrilling.
It's a nice park. It's a nice park.
When you walk around in a big public place like Hershey Park, are you recognized by your fans from any of the projects you did? But I'm thinking mainly of Bikini Kill.
No, and oddly, the day that we went, it was Foo Fighters were playing. And Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl used to be in Nirvana, and we were friends with them when we all first started playing music. And everyone was wearing Nirvana shirts and Foo Fighter shirts, and not one person recognized me. So as I was sort of on the rise, I was like coming to terms with, did I make the right decision? Like, should I sign to a major label? Should I have, and I was like, you know what? My son is so psyched right now, and we're having a really good time, and no one's coming up and bothering us. And I was like, this is actually kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
That is
go.
great.
Now I wish it would make the story perfect if it turned out that Dave Grohl had played Oliver in that production.
Well, Kathleen Hanna, it is a pleasure to talk
It
to
also
you.
wouldn't
We have
surprise
invited
me
you
if Dave
here
Grohl had
to play
played
a
Oliver
game
in
that
that
this time
production.
we're calling.
Kathleen Hanna made Hanna-Barbera.
Hey, you lit up. You must know. I think you and I are similar in generation, so you must remember that Hanna-Barbera is the legendary animation studio behind beloved shows like the Flintstones and Scooby-Doo, and less beloved shows like the Partridge Family, 2200 AD. So we're going to ask you 3 questions about Hanna-Barbera, the animation studio. Get 2 right, and you'll win our prize for one of our listeners, the voice of anyone they might choose in their voicemail. Bill, who is Kathleen Hanna playing for?
Sonny Paley of Georgetown, California.
So here's your first question.
I grew
Flintstones
up on
fans take the show very
Hanna-Barbera.
seriously. So when many of them realized that no one ever mentions what Barney Rubble's job is, they began calling the studio at all hours. The calls were so frequent that the studio responded how? A, by having whoever picked up the phone immediately say, I know why you're calling. You want to know what Barney Rubble did for a living. He worked at the quarry. B, by making a special 8-hour-long episode that follows Barney's entire workday minute by minute. Or C, by just canceling the show out of spite.
C doesn't make
God,
sense. They're
that's so
making
hard.
money
I thought
off of
he,
it.
for some reason, I was
I
thinking he
think
worked at
it's
the
A.
bowling alley.
What did you say, Code?
C doesn't make sense because they were making money off of the show.
Right.
It was really popular.
Right.
So I would say there'd be early.
It was stupid obvious that he worked at the quarry with Fred.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was I think this is one of those where, like, to get to the right answer, you can apply logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's see what the contestant does.
A1.
That's right, A. And no surprise, the majority of those calls were late at night from drunk people. Next question. That was very good. After the Flintstones, Hanna-Barbera had another huge hit with Scooby-Doo. Now, in order to create Scooby, animators did what? A. Gave an actual Great Dane LSD and watched how it acted. B. Gave themselves LSD, looked at a Great Dane, and drew how it looked. Or C. Studied all the desirable traits of award-winning show dog Great Danes and then drew the opposite.
We're going to go with C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I want to think they were all on LSD.
I guess I'll go with the safe answer 3, but I think it's really 2, but I'm going to say 3.
It is 3, or rather C, and I feel bad that you saw it as a safe answer, yeah. So they interviewed a Great Dane breeder about, like, what's the most perfect example of the breed? If it's a perfect dog, what does it look like? And she described it, and they just drew the opposite. All right. Though they were hugely successful, as we remember from our childhoods, Hanna-Barbera loved to work fast and cheap, so sometimes a mistake slipped through, like which of these in the Saturday morning cartoon Super Friends? A, sometimes the superhero's pants would disappear mid-scene. B, sometimes Batman's voice would come out of Superman's mouth. Or C, sometimes Green Lantern had 3 arms.
Oh, that's B.
Actually, yes, it was B. It was actually all of the above.
All of the above, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the film.
Because some friends
Not a lot of quality control.
Some frames would be missing. They wouldn't have had time to draw the frames correctly. So some mistakes would do. And might have been missing places may have been wrong. Just running into a lot of issues with the bloodshot animation.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't quite hear you.
Essentially, just you run into a lot of issues when you rush animation. So, like, voices being said by the wrong character, pants missing in certain scenes because they're not drawn correctly, or just like everything, really.
Okay. Now, those people in my Discord will, if they've been following along, know that animation is in your wheelhouse, as it were. Animation, you design skins, you do these, you're one of these digital artist types, I believe.
I am currently working on a Minecraft texture pack, and it works. But I've now realized that it screws up the textures of a mob, so I have to fix that.
That's so much fun. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
So yes, when you speak on this, you are the voice of authority here.
It is difficult. Animation is difficult.
Yes.
And
why I don't do it.
Is, and I feel like it's underappreciated, honestly.
I do too. I can't even I can't draw or paint fast enough to do a graphic novel or comic book. Like, I move so slowly that I can only do one piece every... I don't even have a good time frame. But it gives me an appreciation for people who can do that kind of, pump out that level of work. Just being able to...
So consistently, yeah.
Right. I'm really just letting the viewers at home know that you are the voice of authority on animation here. And with that, we will get back to the show.
Back in our youth, am I right? Bill, how did Kathleen Hanna do in our quiz?
She killed the bikini. Kathleen, you're something. Not many people do that well.
That's true. 3 right. Congratulations. Kathleen Hanna is a singer, songwriter, and punk icon. Her new memoir, Rebel Girl, is out now. It is a bracing and moving read, and you get to see her on tour this summer with Bikini Kill. Kathleen Hanna, thank you so much for joining us on Wait Wait. Thanks for having me. That was enormous fun. Take care.
Support for NPR and the following message come from Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday.
Let me skip this.
Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed.
Until then, over 41 to peer into
stars of the remarkable HBO show Somebody.
The CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning for free at netsuite.com/story.
Finally, one of my favorite conversations from last year with Bridget Everett and Jeff Hiller, stars of the remarkable HBO show Somebody Somewhere.
It's a hard show to describe. So when they joined us in November, Peter asked them to do it.
I don't know. It's a slice of life. It's about friendship. It's, it's about making each other, lifting each other up, and we're not afraid of a fart joke. I don't know. Can I say that on NPR? I don't know.
Our show is all fart jokes.
Really, I know. You and I have the same formula. Bridget, since you are from Manhattan, Kansas, and it is a show set in Manhattan, Kansas about a woman from Manhattan, Kansas, I'm assuming that everything we see in the show actually happened, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much. Give or take 6. Wait, I can't talk like this. I was gonna say something naughty. I'm gonna leave.
And Jeff, I'm told that your character that you play is awfully close to your real life experience. Is that the case?
Yeah, we both love Vitamixes, and we're both, middle-aged homosexuals with asymmetrical faces. So.
That's true.
It was meant to be, Peter. It was meant to be.
Right. You bet. It occurs to me, Bridget, that I don't know of any other major piece of entertainment set in Manhattan, Kansas, so you must be like a queen there, because you have done for Manhattan, Kansas, what, say, Game of Thrones did for King's Landing. You put it on the map.
That's right. They actually did a Bridget Everett Day for me a couple years ago. So if anybody ever wants to go to Manhattan, Kansas, I think it's March 5th every year. They make a little Bridget Everett donut and a Bridget Everett beer. And
wait a minute. It's not just. Wait a minute. Hold on. I mean, it's not just like they had a day for you when you showed up. There is an actual day on the calendar every year. The kids get off school. Oh, it's Bridget. What are you doing for Bridget Everett Day? Is it?
That's right. As a great LL Cool J says, dreams don't have deadlines. So
that's amazing. I did want to ask you this, though, because the show is...
Are we going to try and do that, Kat? Are we going to try and make it there for Bridget Everett Day?
Well, not this year.
But next year? Manhattan, Ohio, Bridget Everett Day? What day is it?
We have to look that one up and see.
Okay.
Because she said like March 5th, so.
March 5th. Okay. That could be a fun road trip.
It could be definitely an entertaining one.
Yeah, next weekend, by the way, we're probably skipping the show next weekend, this show, and we'll be doing a field trip to
the Tulip Festival.
Tulip Festival. Thank you. Yes, we will be doing a field trip to the Tulip Festival. Hopefully.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting.
That's the big thing is that they emphasize is weather permitting.
Yes.
But hey, we get the interview on Saturday.
We do. We have the interview with oh dang it, my brain just went blank.
All right. I think that at this point, that is the clue to finish the episode, finish the show, because everybody's going blank now.
I want to say Bobby, but I don't think that's right. Anyway, yes, let's get back to the show.
They are broadly similar to you. They have similar styles, maybe, and similar backgrounds. Would you both love to play someone next or soon who is nothing like you? And if so, what kind of character would that be?
Danny Byrne. Byrne. Beirne. Jeez. Cheese and crackers. And the sad thing is like I've been drawing a blank on the name for 2 days because I was telling somebody about it the other day, and like I couldn't get to the name then, and then it just eluded me. Me.
Yep.
Yes. So next Saturday is an interview with Danny Byrne. A musician. I've seen some video of him playing keyboard. He is wild. He is a pretty high energy guy. Met him in person. He's really smart. So it's going to be a fun interview. It feels like it's going to be almost the exact opposite of interviewing Wolfie Boy.
I would hope so.
Right.
I would really, really, truly hope so.
Right. Like, Danny seems like he's an artist, which means he's a little head in the clouds, you know, but he's a very down-to-earth person. Very genuine, very decent, good person. So I'm looking forward to this interview.
Yep.
All right.
Trainwreck spinoff for me and Tim Meadows to do like some sort of rom-com that gets a little freaky at the taco bar. I don't know.
How about you, Jeff? Do you have any idea, like, if you said, oh my God, somebody somewhere, what a huge hit, you can write your own ticket, you can play anything you want, what do you want to do?
Well, I've been playing a lot of serial killers lately. And that's nice to, be someone who you know.
Exactly. I thought for a second you were kidding, but are you not kidding? Have you been playing a lot of serial killers?
I have been playing a lot.
I imagine that's kind of a mixed blessing because you get steady work, right? Serial killers are always popular. Like, what is it about you think, that makes them think, serial killer, psychopath, sex criminal?
You know, I just got a face for murder. I
You give me precious back, you give me precious.
Well, Bridget Everett and Jeff Hiller, this is really fun.
murder.
And we have asked you here to play a game that this time we're calling
Nobody Nowhere.
So, obviously, since your show is called Somebody Somewhere, we thought we'd ask you about Nobody Nowhere. That is 3 questions about places where it's hard to find anybody. Tim,
Antarctica.
who are Bridget and Jeff playing for?
Jack Powers of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
What was that?
Mount Everest at the peak.
Mount Everest at the peak? Yes. However, it's pretty easy to find the people leading up to that because they wear brightly colored jackets. So you can see where they died.
Come on, Vegas.
Come on, now you guys, as we do this, you're allowed to argue, you're allowed to team up, you're allowed to play this however you want. Here we go. Here's your first question. The loneliest and most desolate place on Earth is Antarctica, an entire continent whose population never exceeds about 5,000 people. Despite that, One scientist who was there in December of 2013 managed to do what? A, convince the band Coldplay to come there and do a show, naturally. B, match with someone on Tinder. Or C, organize the first ever Freezing Man Festival.
I think
match
it's C.
with someone
I
on
do
Tinder.
too. I think it's C. I'm so glad you
Wait a
feel
minute.
that
So
way.
you're thinking
Freezing
the
Man.
Freezing Man Festival.
Oh?
The audience.
What
It's
do y'all
either
think?
A or B.
Tinder.
Huh? I'm going Tinder. Yeah, I'm going B.
Yeah.
Did you have a...
Nah.
Jack
audience just a
Wow. I was going to pull the trigger, but the audience is shouting no, no, no. Audience, what do you think it is?
They always know.
They think it's B. They think it's B.
Okay, let's do B then. We got to do it, Bridget. They always know. They always know.
Okay, let's go B.
They don't always know, but they did this time. The scientist was sitting there, and he's like, what the hell? And he turned on Tinder, and he swiped right on this woman who was camping on the ice about 45 minutes away by helicopter. And they did meet up, but they say nothing came of it that time. So
What a pit's ending to a great story.
I'm so sorry. All right, here's your next question.
I don't
now,
know.
The
I think
loneliest
it's
place that anybody has ever been that we know of is the moon. Only 12 people have ever visited the moon. Now, the first astronaut to do it after
That
Neil
we know
Armstrong
of.
and Buzz Aldrin was Pete Conrad. What were Pete Conrad's first words after stepping off the lunar lander onto the surface of the moon? Was it A, one small step for a man, one giant step for mankind, suck it, Neil? B, so where can I get a drink around here that's not recycled urine? Or C, whoopee!
I think
You're
it's...
messing with us, right?
Right. This guy sounds like an.
I kind of am, but one of them is real. Well, he said one of those things as he stepped
This
onto the
man
moon.
is wild. I love him.
I love it.
Did you say something?
I would say
A. I think
Yeah.
so too, because I remember him having a spicy personality.
I'm taking C just to be.
Yeah.
C is funny.
C is funny. I think that's what I would say if
Yeah.
I went to the moon. Because I wouldn't have to say anything important. I don't have. I
I'd
would
say something stupid
Yeah,
like,
just-
I think I can see my help from here.
Yeah, you made it. Now what?
Yeah.
Hey, is that my house? No, I think Whoopi would be because the gravity situation, and you could just kind of jump really high and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know be like
We're not
being
just
on a
below the
trampoline.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could jump high enough to float away.
Probably could.
I think they've done the math, and the average human cannot reach escape velocity under their own muscle power on the moon.
On the moon.
Close, but not
Okay.
quite.
Close, but not quite. Okay. See, those are what I call 421 thoughts. Thoughts that come to you at 421. Soon as you're done smoking, the thought goes, huh.
Like TT. I think it's the TT. He drinks the TT one.
The TT
I don't know. I feel like it's Whoopi.
So you're going to go with two different answers. Bridget, you're going to take the recycled urine, and Jeff, whoopee.
Yeah, we're diverging in two different woods.
Jeff is the winner. Jeff is correct. Whoopee! All right, Jeff has already won. He got 2 right. Let's see if Bridget can catch up. Your last question. In 1993, a French man's car broke down far out in the Moroccan desert. And he was so far out, there was no way for him to get back. So to save his own life, he stripped down the car and he built a motorcycle from the parts and drove it back to civilization. And when he got there, what happened? A, his wife said, "Oh, were you gone?" B, he was ticketed for riding an illegal vehicle. Or C, at the celebration of his miraculous return, he died when a popped champagne cork punctured his head.
Oh, it's not C. I quit.
B.
It's got to be C.
Bridget, they can't die from.
Peanut Gallery, you said B?
Yep.
All right. Anybody else weighing in?
I am agreeing B.
Yeah, it's B. I
Mainly
remember
because I didn't hear A.
Okay. I want to take a quick moment to shout out Kush Gang, one of our sponsors, and their peanut butter breath flower, which I will be smoking for the rest of this episode.
You know, every time I hear you say something like that, my first thought is, we're baking. We're going to go into the kitchen and take flour and make something.
Wrong type of baking.
I know this. It doesn't change the fact that I hear the word flour and I expect it to be a bag of
actual flour.
Well, okay, so yeah, that's kind of
we're going to go make pancakes with this.
Well, if I want to give somebody their appropriate celebration for their deeds, I will hand them 2 bags of Bisquick. Flowers. Giving them their flowers.
But especially after all of the various brownies and things that you've tried.
Oh yeah, Kush Gang, especially when I say Kush Gang and flour, it's like, wait. It could be baking flour.
So it doesn't help. So there's a reason why you hear me giggling.
I appreciate that. I just want to say, peanut butter breath, really tasty. So good. All right, back to the show.
They can't die from that. That's a fun answer. Come on, you got to do better.
No, you can die from that, and I'm willing to give it a shot.
All right, Bridget wants to go with he died ironically from the popped champagne cork. What do you think, Jeff?
I think it's the ticket.
You think he got a ticket?
I think it's the ticket.
Once again, Jeff is correct. So, Tim, how did Bridget and Jeff do on our quiz?
Jeff got all 3 questions correct.
Yeah.
It's a record.
It's never happened before. Bridget Everett and Jeff Hiller are stars of Somebody Somewhere on HBO and Max. Season 3 is out now. Catch it. It is remarkable and heartwarming and funny. And every now and then, Bridget says something very dirty. Bridget and Jeff, thank you so much for joining us on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Awesome to have you. That's it for our spring break edition. Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me is a production of NPR and WBEZ Chicago in association with Urgent Haircut Productions, Doug Berman, Benevolent Overlord. Philip Goedeke writes our limericks. Our public address announcer is Paul Friedman. Our tour manager is Shayna Donald. BJ Liederman composed our theme. Our program is produced by Jennifer Mills, Mylon Dornbos, and Lillian King. Special thanks to Monica Hickey. Our jolly good fellow is Hannah Anderson. Peter Gwynn is the little worm at the bottom of our bottle of tequila. Our vibe curator is Emma Choi. Technical direction is from Lorna White. Her CFO is Colin Miller. Our production manager manager is Robert Newhouse. Our senior producer is Ian Chillock. And the executive producer of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me is Mike Danforth. Thanks to everybody you heard on this week's show, all of our panelists, our fabulous guests, and of course, Bill Curtis. Thanks to all of you for listening. I'm Peter Sagal. We'll be back next week, tanned, rested, and ready. This is NPR.
This message comes from Capital One.
All right, there we go, friends. That was the game. No points were kept, so no winners, no runners up this week.
Yes, but I'm awarding a special point to Code Inc. for trying very valiantly to try to stay on track and trying to diffuse rants. And
yes,
I think it didn't work.
At one point, I was going to go on a rant about like a show on YouTube called Nemesis Blue, and how it was based off of another show where it's like you get like people get teleported somewhere and they call the process jauntine. I don't remember what it's called though.
Okay.
But it's like it takes like a really long time or something.
Okay. Well, Code, you're today's winner.
Yep. Thank you for joining us.
We really appreciate it. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, everyone on Twitch in the chat. Thank you, Master Rasta 420. Just Me Crystal, much love. Lockpick, my future ex-husband. Gator Nuts, rock on. And I believe that's everybody in the chat.
Yeah, I think so.
Stick around for the raid. And now is the time on the show when I say, as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We're out, y'all.
It's been the ruin of many a poor boy. God, I know I'm one now. My mama was a tailor. She sewed my new